Welcome to my very first video of disassembly of Project 308. Man, I've had this thing forever now and I haven't touched it. It's just been sitting here in the shop. I've moved it here, I've moved it there, I've moved it around, I've looked at it, I've covered it, I've washed it. I've done nothing to it. So right now is going to be the inaugural video for actually doing something on the car other than looking at it. So when we take a look at the engine bay, there is just accessories to come off. It's actually wide open when you think about it. I don't think it's actually that hard to get this motor out. And it seems like skill level is not that challenging. Coolant reservoir, oil cooler, rear exhaust manifold, rear ignition system. We've got the front ignition system over there. I can't see the manifold down there, but it's down there. Air filter and 4 Webers there. Somebody has painted the valve covers, as you can see it flaking away. I'll probably get those cleaned up and back to original. Remove gas tanks. You can see one right over there and one tucked right over there. And service the clutch. Just a complete service. As there is no service history for this car whatsoever, I have to create it from scratch. So if you thought we were going to start at the top and work our way down, you'd be right on the money. And the topmost part is the air cleaner, of course. And then underneath that is the air filter and the air horns for the Webers. I'm going to come back to this professionally modified air cleaner assembly in a minute. At this point, I was debating with myself whether I should take the Webers out now or whether I should remove the engine completely, put it on a stand, and then service the Webers. While the debate raged on in my head, I just decided to do a little extras, like just removing the rear torque mount, the oil filter, distributor caps, and wires. So on my quest to remove anything attached to the motor, we're going to go and we're going to take this oil cooler out right now. I don't even know if this car has oil in it or not. I haven't even checked. I should check that. Alright, the bottom is broken. Next up, that stabilized carburetors. Get these babies out. Definitely not a 14 mil. Technology has marched on the last 30 to 40 years, and while this car once upon a time was pretty darn sophisticated, it's pretty rudimentary now. So a popular modification for any of these Ferraris was to run the car without the air cleaner top off to get that Weber sound. Now the previous owner of this car took a couple steps further and they drilled all these holes. I'm like, they couldn't even drill them in a straight line. Come on! Well, I'm sure that makes this car sound better. I doubt it actually adds any performance. In fact, it probably takes a bit away because the fresh air that's normally coming in through the, over here, the fresh air that's being delivered to the air cleaner through this inlet, right there, that's the delivery of fresh air. It's not getting any fresh air, so it's actually taking warm engine air. It probably actually loses a couple horsepower because warm air is not good for performance numbers. Now let me introduce you to my auto glass guy, Steve Broley. I've been warning him for a while that this project was waiting for him. I knew he would take his time and get the glass out of this vehicle without breaking it. Contemporary cars use urethane to seal a windshield. What you're looking at right here is called butyl tape, and it's frickin' miserable. And now that the windshield is out, we're going to work on the left quarter window and then the right quarter window. Everything was going so smoothly until we hit the rear glass, and then that's when we discovered that it had been urethaned in. And the urethane was just absolutely everywhere. Steve recommended to cut the seal and save the glass. But I said, listen, head out, I will give it a try. I tried for hours to save the seal. I eventually gave up because I couldn't bear breaking the glass. The only thing left to remove on my own is the door glass, and Steve helped me with the tougher parts. Now I've made my way back to the engine, and I'm working on the rear header. I don't want to take any of the main hoists, the hoists that actually produce income in the shop, so I'm just going to do everything here on axle stands. And of course I've got to get to the front header now, which is only available from underneath the vehicle, so let's get underneath it. Alright, so let's take a look here. Now, obviously, the production of this video is occurring after I already have the engine out. And I can honestly say the toughest part of the complete job was this right here. Part of the problem is that I'm spoilt now. I've worked in this industry for so long, like 30 years, I don't remember the last time I was actually laying on my back getting dirt in my face. I managed to get the air ratchet on only 3 of the nuts. The rest of them had to be done by hand, and it was painful. You gotta commend me on this GoPro angle. I don't think you realize how hard it was to get my hands into this spot. Here I'm trying to undo the rookie mistake I made. I should have disconnected the muffler first. I don't know why I didn't. This is the front header pipe where it connects to the inlet to the muffler. It's only serviced through the right rear tire. You have to get the tire off to get to it. Alright, look that through here. Well, of course, it couldn't be that easy. The clearance between the right rear axle and the lower control arm is too small for me to be able to simply pull the muffler straight out. So, it needs to go through there, and I'm trying to just squeeze it by right there right now. Let's see what I can do. Another cart before the horse moment, I guess. I must be French. Doing things backwards. So the axles have to come out anyway, so let's get them out. Well, with any luck now, I should be able to get that axle up enough to get the exhaust out. There we go, look at that. Since I've got half of one axle out right now, I'm going to continue on taking all the axles out. I'm going to assume they're the same size as the other ones. I really should have washed this car down before I started. Man, everything is filthy, including these axles. I normally love working solitaire late into the night, but I knew I was going to need a hand to get this motor out, so I called my friend Mark in for an extra set of hands.
Taking the starter motor wiring off. Battery died, sorry about that. So now I've got 4 motor mounts, and I'm pretty sure I'm clear everywhere. 1, 2. What's that there? It's some wiring, some additional wiring I gotta get off. All the lights on? No. Okay, I'm gonna take another look around. See if there's anything I'm missing. One last look. Alright, let's go take the motor out.
How does this work? Half ton, 1 ton?
It's lifting capacity, don't you? See it right now.
So right now it's reaching.
Okay, let's go. So, lift it up a bit.
Okay. Say it again.
Come back to where you were before.
Crank up.
Then I'll come back
Okay.
to where you were before. Can you pull those out, or
Hold on.
will they come out, do you think? Come on, dude. Get it clear. Come on, baby. Come on, a few more. Okay. Now hold the motor and pull backwards. Use your foot like this. We want to slide it back while controlling the motor. Okay, more on your side. Put your foot on it like me. There you go. Well, that was certainly a bit of a challenge, but I've definitely done more difficult engines. It was just the unknown and not knowing what to do. I got hung up on that rear header back there. It got stuck, and I trapped the motor mount underneath the header, and I had to drop it back down. And then I forgot a little cable down there. I didn't see that cable right there attached to the transmission, right there. So kind of pulled on that, but I figured it out before I damaged it. But this thing is just a lot bigger than it looks when it's sitting in the car. With that transmission on it and everything, it's heavy and it tilts. And one strap there, I banged it like that, and away it came out. And I'm going home now because I'm tired. It's 10:25, I haven't eaten, and I'm dirty. Part 2 coming up.